Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 139 of the Citrix session. I'm your host for today, Bill Sutton. Our fearless leader, Andy Whiteside, is off on PTO today. So we've just got me, and I've got a couple of folks from the Cloud Software Group and Citrix with me. Todd Smith, you want to say hello real quick?
Hey, folks. Glad to be here, Bill and Monica. It's always a pleasure.
Yep. And also, as Todd mentioned, Monica Griesmer is with us as well. Monica's been with us for the past few weeks, going over her blog that we are going to review today. It's entitled What's New with Citrix, CVAD 2305 and Cloud Updates. It's from June, but it's taken us a little while to get through it all. It's a pretty long article. So we're going to begin today with this section on streamlining employee experience technology. This is part 4 of this blog, and I think hopefully, unless we get very verbose on this call, this will be the final part of this one. So I don't know if you want to say anything overarching, Monica, about this section before we get into the weeds here, but I'll give you the floor here if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Bill. And hi, everyone. As Bill said, Monica Griesmer, Product Marketing Manager in the Citrix BU of Cloud Software Group. I feel like my title keeps getting longer and longer, Todd. I don't know if you feel the same way here. But yes, I've been super thrilled to be on the past few weeks talking about all of the updates from essentially Q2. And we covered all of the great admin experience improvements, all of the great security improvements. And I won't say we saved the best for last because there's a lot of great Citrix features out there. And, you can't pick your favorite child. But I do love the employee experience enhancements that we continue to drive here at Citrix because we want to make admins' lives easier, but we want to make users' lives easier. Because if they're complaining to you all day that their technology isn't working, everything that we do on the back end is a moot point. So getting into employee experience and we've got a lot of great stuff happening. So I'm excited to jump in today.
Yeah, it's a good point. Even the perception of a poor experience on the part of an end user, it basically means they're having a bad experience. You can manage that perception, but I know, I was a CPA for a number of years and did a lot of audits, and the perception of an issue with independence was always seen as an actual independence issue. So, the perception is an important part of understanding your user's experience, and obviously you have to validate whether that's really the case, but and then overcome it so the user's perception changes. So good points. So the first section here is the new Citrix Workspace user interface. This is a tech preview. I watched this video a couple of weeks ago. It's actually very interesting. You want to go into some detail about this, Monica? I'm sure you're familiar with it.
Oh, yeah. We are starting us off strong here today and in this section of the blog. So we are introducing a new cloud-based UI for the Citrix Workspace. And so looking forward, obviously, as we continue to streamline cloud and on-prem, keep your eye out for user interface enhancements on that front. But for the time being, in the cloud-based UI, so, the Citrix Workspace, we have changed the look and feel. So we've removed the micro apps and files. It is your apps and desktops, your SaaS and web apps exactly where you need them in that streamlined interface from Citrix. So that's great, just to streamline tiles, but we've also added new like tabs for applications and categories. So if you're looking for Microsoft Office Suite, you can click on that category. If you're looking for just browsers, you can click on that category. But I think the thing that's really exciting to us is what we're calling the activity manager. So this is something you could kind of do in storefront, which is where it's more self-service for the end user to disconnect active sessions without having to go into the virtual desktop themselves. So under your name, there's a drop down that'll show all of the open apps and desktops you have, and you can shut off or disconnect via the activity manager. This is in tech preview. Give a little teaser. This should be coming out very soon, rolling out. We have, I think, I can't give you an exact number, but we have a lot of people already on the tech preview. This is getting a lot of traction. So it's a very big deal and showcasing the evolution of Citrix and continuing to bring the most streamlined experience to our customers.
What do you think, Todd?
Yeah, and I think this is a long awaited
Hmm.
capability. I remember having conversations with customers. I don't want to say how many years ago, but it's more than 10 years ago, where they would say, how come I can't move the icons to my desktop the way I want them to look? I use the same 5 applications every single day. I want to favorite them. And then as people started moving over towards more of a browser-like experience where they could have bookmarks and they could have favorites and they could have things laid out in a browser the way they wanted it to look and feel.
Hmm.
I think this is kind of catching up with that experience requirements that a lot of users had. And it's also making things a lot easier for people to get in and out. I love the activity manager capability, right? So I don't want to go and have to open up a help desk ticket to restart a session. I don't want to have to go and add an additional layer of complexity. I want to remove those layers of complexity. And this is a great step in the right direction for us.
Yeah, completely agree. This is the way I'd put it very simply for those who've been around a long time is this is not your grandfather's Dazzle. This is a great new, yeah, exactly.
You have to use jazz hands, Bill.
Jazz
Yeah,
hands,
I
yeah,
didn't know you were
Dazzle.
going to get a Dazzle reference today. Wow.
Had to throw it out, had to throw it out there. No, this is light years ahead of that, obviously, and I love seeing this. I especially love the application categories to make it easier, and the search bar from what I've seen in the video.
Yes.
I haven't yet used this myself, but looks really cool. So looking
Yep.
forward to that.
And it's
By the
in
way,
our, go ahead, Todd.
sorry, by the way, Bill, just to let you know, there are still some registry keys
Oh
that
yeah,
have Dazzle in
oh
there.
yeah, I've
Yeah.
noticed that. So yeah.
Yep. And I also wanted to mention, Todd, you brought up the streamlined experience that's more browser-like, more customizable. And I totally agree here. I will also plug the embedded browser while we're
Yeah.
at it. And or the enterprise browser, rather. Sorry, I just dated myself there. The Citrix enterprise browser. And if you and your customers, your users are truly looking for that experience that's like a browser and they can tab and favorite but also have the security and watermarking capabilities that Citrix offers. Yep. You can't see us, you can only hear us, but Bill just popped up his enterprise browser right now. I love it. I use it all the time and have favorited it and added shortcuts on a ton of stuff. So that's a really nice experience. If your users are really adamant about having that browser, we can deliver it to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think just to add on to that commentary, I think my Chrome browser, my native Chrome browser, is doing updates every other day now.
Hmm.
There's some
Hmm.
push to update, right? So with a browser, with an embedded browser or a browser as a service, as we're including in our workspace, you don't have to worry about that anymore. You don't have to worry about, am I on the latest, most secure version of the browser? It's being delivered to you.
Yeah, and then the other key benefit I think of the enterprise browser is the ability to be able to set policies centrally and not have to
Yes.
rely on the days of GPOs and domain joined machines and all of the things that go along with that. That you've got a cloud-based service where you can define the policies that are present within the browser, and then that gets pushed down or pulled down, I guess, by the browser itself. So really cool stuff. So the next one, EDT Lossy and Citrix Gateway Service. I think this is, from what I've read on this is about keeping the audio in sync. One of you guys
Yes.
want to comment on this one a little bit?
Yep, that's the basic of it. It's
Okay.
a continuation of EDT. EDT and EDT losses provide similar results in that they maintain synchronization over high latent networks.
Mhm.
But it's just, yeah, syncing audio and just things that users expect, right? Even now, even if I'm using a native, right? Sometimes my audio lags, even if I'm
Right.
not in a virtual session inside and out of it. But this really helps inside of virtual sessions to help with that synchronization of audio.
Very good.
Yeah, I think the user experience for so many years on a audio video conferencing solution inside a virtual desktop tended to be very similar to Max Headroom, which was back in the MTV days when MTV used to play videos. There was someone that they actually used to make fun of the differences between audio and video lag. It was almost like dubbed movies when they put them in a different foreign language and the mouth moves different than what you're hearing.
Yep.
Like the old Bruce Lee movies where he,
Exactly.
he moved his hand and then you heard the contact later. So yeah.
Exactly. So I think catching up with that, and this has become much more important because a lot of companies are moving away from traditional phone systems. When you think about it, you pick up your receiver on your desk phone and you would automatically get a dial tone. You didn't have to worry about that. The phone systems were, in some cases, 50, 60, 70 years old, and you expected a level of service out of that. And this is yet another situation where our technology is catching up with the demands of the user population and the demands of the organizations that are using this to have that reliability built into it.
Absolutely. I think it's another example of Citrix just being able to innovate and develop towards what we really need and enhancing the user experience. All right, the next one, I think Monica, you've talked about this before, or maybe we have on a prior podcast. This is about the simulcast for Microsoft Teams, and
yes,
I'll let you comment on it. I won't steal your thunder.
No, absolutely. Steal away. But I know I was talking about this at the Nutanix event when I actually got to meet you in person, Bill, for the first time.
Maybe that's where I heard it. That's where I heard it.
Yes, you're on the cutting edge. I really appreciate you listening to what I have to say. But the simulcast for Microsoft Teams really plays in nicely, continuing this conversation we were having on supporting multiple types of endpoints on a virtual call. So, for example, previously, before, if there was like a really low performing endpoint, someone on a call had a lower quality device that they were tuning in or dialing in on, then the entire cast of the video call would default to the lowest common denominator endpoint. So it would essentially downgrade everyone's experience who had nicer, more powerful endpoints to use. And so now with simulcast, all participants and video streams are delivered at the best quality for their each individual endpoint. So it's really about bringing that user experience, that power that you have on your respective endpoint, and getting the best experience that you can. So it's really cool, and continuing that conversation of just, if you have a really powerful desktop, then you expect it to perform a certain way. And we want to meet and exceed those users' expectations.
Yeah, so this is basically if I've got a powerful desktop that can do, 720 FPS or something like that, I'm not going to see that degraded by the fact that somebody else is using a much lesser capable device, right? Yes. Fundamentally, that's what this is going to do.
And I will also mention that this is specific to Microsoft Teams at the moment.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Let's see. The next one, improving tracking and performance for geolocation redirection. This is interesting. Primarily, I think, for folks that are on job sites or out in the field. Do you want to talk a little bit more about this one, Monica?
Exactly. That was the first point I was going to bring up. This is really a field-based example and pretty specific to verticals. Think manufacturing, think public services, if we've got our first responders out in the field and you need the location of devices, right? So previously it would, if your device was pinging a virtual desktop, the location would be whatever server it's coming from. And now it's better at pinging where the device itself is at. So if you need to know folks' locations, etc.
The endpoint, you mean?
The endpoint. Yes, exactly.
So this would be like if I'm running a virtual desktop in Azure or running a virtual desktop in my company's data center in Atlanta or Santa Clara, rather than it showing Santa Clara, it would show, in theory, the location of my endpoint. So if I'm planning a trip and need to figure out how far it is from point A to point B, I don't have to monkey around with the maps and tell it I'm actually coming from Virginia versus California.
Exactly.
I can see
And
this helping in a lot of situations.
absolutely. And like, even for example, when I do my Okta Verify into my virtual desktop, sometimes it says I'm in North Carolina, sometimes it says I'm in Florida when I'm currently sat in Illinois
Mhm.
because it's talking to my virtual desktop. So
Right.
if I had geolocation redirection on, they don't need to know my specific location because just sat here on my computer. But if I were out in the field and they needed to know it, then
Right.
they connected to my endpoint.
Got
Well,
it.
and a great example of that is, think about folks that are using a voice over IP connection and they call 911,
911.
right?
Yeah.
You need to know exactly where that call is coming in from. And also, you can also kind of use that to define security policies or performance policies
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Absolutely. Good stuff. So the next one, enhancing Citrix Workspace customization with custom domain tech preview. I think I know what this is about because I've had a number of customers ask for this over the years. Why do I have to use cloud.com? I want to use
Yep.
my domain name. So you want to talk a little bit about this one, Monica, please?
Yes, congratulations. You can tell your customers like you can use your own domain name now. So
Right.
this is in tech preview, rolling out very soon. And that's exactly what it is for those users to get access to their workspace environments via a URL. So you would have to go I'm trying to remember how it was set up, like name.cloud.com, right,
Yeah.
to reach the Citrix domain.
Mhm.
And now you can personalize and do a vanity URL for your company. So go.acme.com, depending
Yeah.
on whatever your company name is. It is limited to, you can only have like one main domain and then you can put some other words before or after it, but you don't have to do just cloud.com now. So I remember I even think go.citrix.com. I would
Yeah.
always try, I always still go there, even though we've since changed. That just sticks in my head, muscle memory for me as a Citrix
Right.
employee. And
Right.
to get that, if someone's on the road traveling, their device peters out or they lose it or whatever, obviously the beauty of Citrix is none of the data is on their device, so that's totally fine. But they might not remember how to get back to get a new device. They might have to do a kiosk mode, and to have just an easily rememberable domain that they can type in anywhere they are and access their data is a pretty powerful thing and good for it's perception. I like that you brought up the perception thing,
Mhm.
Bill, at the beginning. It's like, how easy is this for me to do? And it's just one more step to make their lives easier.
Yeah, well, think about migrations because we've run into this before on migrations where the customer's going from an on-prem, NetScaler storefront combination to the cloud, and they're like, "Well, our users are used to use your example, go.domain.com or
Yep.
whatever it happens to be. Can we continue to use that?" And historically, the
Mm,
answer was, if you're going DaaS, no, it needs to be whatever.cloud.com, and hopefully that's not already taken. If you're
right.
a
Yeah.
common name, so we've had. I mean, most customers have been able to work around it, but this will obviously make that almost a moot point now, where as long as it's not a complex, structure, then they should be able to switch over and use the same or a very similar domain name.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. The next two, I think, deal with analytics for
Yep.
performance. Go ahead.
I am pretty sure that we round out the section with analytics for performance. And again, I'll be very frank with you. I have had a lot of help with my colleague Christian on this section, so we can all work through this together. As much as I'd like to be an expert at every single thing,
Sure.
as you all pretty much are, I'm still getting there. So I would love to round out this section talking about analytics for performance and just anything you've worked on and these updates we have here.
Yeah. So it looks like this first one, it says data availability. It looks like this has to do with data that's not included or that's missing.
Yeah.
And they've added in some notifications and some information about some explanatory type fields in here regarding items that may not be present at the time.
Right.
Anyone have any thoughts about that?
Yeah.
I'm
So
not
I think
that familiar with it.
Yeah, so Bill, I think one of the big challenges that a lot of sysadmins have had is, hey, it's great that I can get information off the machines that I know about, where are the machines that I don't know about? Where are the machines that I need to spend some time remediating or applying a patch or updating software or getting it connected to the network? This is really a cool additional feature that we've added in here, and being able to say, hey, you know what, there's something we're not able to get the full data set off of these devices because something is missing. Well, that may be worthwhile dispatching a tech to go and fix that machine, as opposed to, not knowing about it, because, that from a security and performance perspective, that's the problems I want to be able to fix. And
Absolutely.
this is critical to identify those.
Yeah, definitely.
And also visually, we're showcasing here that information. So information on lack of information, right? It comes up in notifications, symbols, and pop-ups within the console. Yep. So as with anything Citrix, the more you use it, the more you get out of it. So when you're in that console, it will let you know and put it right in front of your face. Hey, like these endpoint metrics aren't available for X number of sessions. Like, let's troubleshoot that. Let's do something about it.
Yeah, I hadn't really picked up on that when I read through this quickly earlier today. But that's really a key feature. I mean, we've dealt with this in the past, Todd, where we might not know, or we have to spend a lot of time investigating why or where the devices are that aren't reporting properly, and be able, even if all it does is bubbles up and says, here are the devices that aren't reporting properly, then you dispatch, to your point, you dispatch a tech to or someone to take a look, or an agent, or maybe not an agent, but somebody to remote into the device and say, what are we missing? Is the WinRM not configured properly, or some other local monitoring tool that's needed to bubble that data up? So that's
or the other
a good thing.
Yeah, or the other thing, Bill, is that sometimes you'd have to rely on a third-party tool to go out there and do that.
Yep.
To go out and do an update to some type of application or some type of driver that needs to be done, right? So I think one of the best views that I've seen recently is there's a view that will show you what version of the workspace app you got. And it actually goes and says, here's the entire list of workspace apps that are reporting in your network. And then it identifies which ones need to be updated. Well, that oftentimes is someone clicking ignore on a message that pops up on their screen at the endpoint.
Oh, yeah.
And that could cause service disruptions, and that could cause downtime. That could cause potential data breaches, or at least an attack vector that could be out there, that you want to be able to make sure that you close those up and you actually get that performance, and you're getting reliable data. It's one thing to have data available to you, but if the data is unreliable or incomplete, people are making decisions off this.
Yep. And if you're looking at higher level metrics, summary metrics, you may not be getting the data you need, or the right data. Maybe skewed, I guess, is probably a better way of putting it. So this next one, new mode categories, I wasn't sure what this was, but when I did a little bit of digging, it looks like the capability to change the frequency or the sampling of data. So if you're triaging issues, you're able to say, update the console quicker. Is that what I see here?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of both. We've actually added for tenants with more than 25,000 unique users. Sometimes we would pull data quickly with about 1% deviation maybe in the data.
Right.
But if you need a really, really comprehensive view at all of the data and a maximum precise view of every single data you have, we actually have a higher precision option for that data sampling. So you could choose higher precision, and it would take a little bit longer to get that data, but it would be a very, very precise view of what your environment was looking like. So just offering those options to where if you need it quickly, then sure, you can do some averages, maybe a little bit of deviation here or there. The higher precision gives you this highly precise, as it sounds.
Yeah. Okay. The last one, I think this is the last one.
Yep.
We're at the end here. Wow. This is pretty fast. So this is Splunk integration, and I think just allows for bulk data export. You want to talk a little bit about that, Monica?
Yep. Just I know a lot of our users
Mhm.
leverage analytics for performance in tandem with Splunk and
Yeah.
allowing for that bulk data export to export and share those collected metrics and events with Splunk inside those dashboards. So Splunk enterprise admins can view that performance data collected and then also correlate the data from Citrix Analytics with the data from your sources in Splunk as well. So
Yeah.
just adding that linkage and integration.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, I'm not a Splunk expert by any means. I know generally what it is, but I would imagine like um, analytics tools like Power BI or Tableau or something could plug into this and then enable you to slice and dice the data and get the kind of information you want, which obviously is a benefit, especially to those that use Splunk and larger organizations, I would suspect.
Yeah, I think a lot of customers, especially the enterprise customers, have kind of moved over towards Splunk as not only as a great reporting and monitoring tool,
Right.
but also it's a great data aggregator. So you can actually have all your SIM information come into one place and then connect Splunk to all of the, like you said, Tableaus and Power BIs and all of the other the tabulation analysis engines that are out there, and really be able to kind of pull that stuff together, so you can actually tie it in with, think of it from a performance perspective, but also think of it from, what has happened in my environment at this specific point in time. I mean, that used to require individuals to comb through multiple logs, kind of sort through all kinds of different data. And you think about it, the amount of data that's being collected that's related to performance and security, you have to have capabilities out there with machine learning and AI built into it. The data sets are just too large.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? Somebody said the amount of data that we've collected in the past 3 years is more than we did in the past, I don't know, 50 or 60 or more.
I believe
It's
it.
probably more than that now, but I mean, it's just incredible when we look at the data that even comes out of some of the systems that we use every day, like Salesforce and ServiceNow. I mean, the data that it collects, and there's no way you could analyze that, on paper or even in a spreadsheet for that matter. You need these higher end tools to be able to slice and dice the data. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think one of the best analogies and the best stories that I've heard is that the current version of the iPhone has more processing power than the computers that were used to put the Apollo missions on the moon.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and this little thing that we hold in our hands basically has more computing power than systems that filled floors of buildings back in the day. So.
Absolutely.
And they are collecting mountains of data. I mean, while we were on the phone, my iPhone popped up and said, "You're out of storage." So I got to figure that out. I wondered why my phone calls were coming in and it would ring, but the name didn't appear on the screen. I guess it was because it's like the old days, Todd. The phone rang and you didn't know who was on the other end. So
yeah. And now
anyways.
someone telling you your vehicle warranty's out of
exactly. So. Well, look, we are at the end of this article, this long, very detailed article, very well written article. So
Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys, Todd, you and Monica, and of course Andy and Geremy, who were on this for the other iterations, the other parts, if you will. But we've made it through it. So any final words or thoughts on this generally?
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you for having me back on. It's always a pleasure to have these conversations and get to add more context to the words on the page. I will have a few shameless plugs here as a marketer. At the end here, I drove toward updates.cloud.com. That is our roadmap page. So if you want the latest, what's being developed, what's coming out information, that is where to go. But the real shameless plug is my team and I are actually delivering a What's New webinar via like the Citrix channel on August 22nd. So this is breaking news here. I haven't said it on any channel yet, but it is live to register on citrix.com. If you go to citrix.com/events, it should be the first thing that comes up. A ton of what we covered here today will be on there. But even more, there's going to be 4 of us speaking on our different perspectives within bringing cloud innovations to on-prem, enhancing the user experience, and more. So yeah, come jump on that. We'll do a customer Q&A at the end of that. So it's always a great session. So that is my plug for today. And then also we're rounding out the end of Q3, next month. So you may or may not get another incredibly long blog from yours truly. So I don't think you can shake me yet, gentlemen.
Oh, no, we don't want to shake you yet.
Nope.
These are very popular ones, so we
Yes.
obviously want to keep them going. I'm sure.
Yes. And I mean, I think the length of it just attests to the amount of innovation that we're driving across cloud and on-prem. I was digging through some of my old ones. It used to be just on-prem conversations. Now we're speaking to both. And I think that's a powerful thing. I feel like the lines are blurred, but that shows the state of hybrid and where our customers are.
Yep.
So you'll keep hearing from us. We're going to keep innovating. So exciting things coming.
For sure. All right, Todd, any final words?
No, I think Monica just kind of hit it on the head and hit it out of the park because, keeping up to date on what's new with Citrix is really becoming a little bit more of a challenge because we are innovating so much and because we are meeting the requirements and requests of a lot of customers. And if you're a customer listening to this, reach out to not only Citrix, but also reach out to partners like XenTegra to provide feedback and say, hey, you know what? I really wish we would have this. This is how we innovate, is by asking questions and listening to the customer's responses.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yes. I would encourage customers and listeners to reach out to any of us if they have feedback, both on these blogs or these podcasts, but also on the tech itself and how we can all help improve. So look, I appreciate you guys joining today. Thank you so much. We'll do it again next week. See y'all later.
Thank you.
Thanks all.